thank you to those of you who support me on Patreon. You can join as a patron at patreon.com/Teresa Yanaros. Thank you for supporting independent media. Hi, this is Teresa at Divine Frequency, and today we are going to talk about alien hybrids. First of all, I want to say, how are y'all doing? I know I've been missing. I've been really busy, and I have a lot of big announcements that I'm going to make at the end of what we're going to talk about today. So let's dive right in. Alien hybrids. Did you guys know that some people believe that humans are a part of a hybridization program, actually multiple different kinds of hybridization programs involving different extraterrestrials, that we are sometimes taken and we mate with ETs through either actual sex or our eggs are taken. I had an interview with this guy named Ryan Cropper. This was about 4 or 5 months ago. And in that interview, Ryan Cropper talked about the hybridization program.
It started to get really real. I started seeing them like physically walking through my walls. And I thought I was astral projecting, but I wasn't. And I'm waiting to go back into my body. I'm like, wait a second, I'm still here. Like pinching myself on the guy's side. I talked to my brother. He's like, yeah, you're pretty much awake. You're not dreaming. Tall whites and short brown aliens. They wanted me to take part in an experiment. And I was like, this is awesome. You know, I always wanted to do this. But I asked some questions first. I said, how long are we going to be gone for? And what is the experiment? What does it entail? And will I come out the same? Like, what are you going to be doing? It's a lot of movies. Well, they wanted me to basically, you've heard about the breeding program, right?
Yeah.
They wanted me to do that with the tall white. I know of quite a few people who wouldn't mind. And having little kids out there that are little hybrids.
When he did this, it sort of like triggered something in my mind. I'm like, hybridization program. Okay, yes, I think I've heard about this on Ancient Aliens, right? We'd all probably heard about it there. And if you've gone down the deep, dark recesses of the internet with it, so I'm sure some people heard of it there. But I think for me, I had only heard about it through documentaries and things like that I had watched on abductions and things like that. But I hadn't really been super into it. I hadn't really researched it or anything and gone down that path. So when Ryan Cropper in this interview mentioned the hybridization program, it was like a little twinkle in my eye, like, oh, okay, that's something that I need to look into. Well, that night, I felt the need to watch something on TV. So I watched this program with this woman named Niara Isley, and she was talking about how she was a part of some of these secret, unacknowledged programs where they were taking her in, and she was seeing a lot of stuff that she wasn't supposed to see in the military, and so they were using trauma to make her forget what was going on. It was a lot of horrible stuff involving ETs, and it just sat really, really wrong with me. It affected me greatly. Since then, I've actually seen Niara speak at a conference, actually at Eclipse of Disclosure. She is an amazing light, and she tells her story, she gives her testimony, and she talks about how we can transmute and how we can grow as a collective. So, first of all, shout out to Niara Isley, you're amazing. And then let's take my story forward. So the next day I was at work, I was waiting tables at a restaurant at this time, and I was walking to a table, and then all of a sudden I got this like download of memories. It was like it just hit me out of nowhere, and I remembered this recurring dream that I had been having maybe like 2 years prior to this that I'd completely forgotten about. Well, the dream came flooding back to me, and I'm standing there and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And this was the dream that I had. So in this dream, I am sitting in a room that is just really foggy. It was like white. And in this dream, my ex-husband was next to me. And this was back when I was married. So this was like 2 years ago when I was married. And I'm being presented with a child. And it was like I knew that there was a being in front of me, a really tall being in front of me, but I couldn't see them. I was just kind of like a shadowy figure, and then they were presenting a child to me. But this child, my hands are shaking just thinking about it, was the only thing that I could see. And it was the most beautiful child I'd ever seen. It looked like me. and she had these big eyes, and she was so beautiful, and like the energy that I just felt from this child was like super intense, like this soul connection, this bond, like this was my child. And I remember specifically in the dream that the understanding was being delivered telepathically to me that this was not my husband's child. This was my child. Anyway, so I had this dream, and I remember waking up and being like, wow, that was a really weird dream. And I had the dream another couple of times. Well, at this time in my life, I was trying to conceive, and my husband was out of town a lot. And quick note on trying to conceive. I tried to conceive for 3 years to no avail, and multiple doctors told me that there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. Another interesting thing to note. I learned later that this phenomenon is very prevalent in women who seem to have hybrid children. So he was actually in China for a while, and I was there at the house by myself, and this was when I was having this recurring dream. And it was interesting too, because around this time I felt like I was pregnant. I remember thinking like, I think I'm pregnant. And I was walking around the house and just like feeling pregnant, and it, like the way that I would stand and hold myself, and like I don't know, it's kind of like weird to describe, but so all this comes flooding back, and I'm like, okay, this is so crazy. And then I thought about what Ryan Cropper had said the day before with the mentioning the hybridization program, and so I pull out my phone and I Google, what did I say? I Googled abduction hybrid child. I think that's what I Googled. Yes. And so I hit search, and what's the first thing that pops up? Well, the name that popped up immediately was Bridget Nielsen. And I was like, wait a second, Bridget Nielsen. That name sounds familiar. And I clicked on her website. Well, she claims, and she's my age, she claims that she has hybrid children, and she draws them, and you can see what she claims they look like. And she tells this whole story about how she has been taken, and she has been, she's been hybridized, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. She's been, well, okay, that wouldn't even be the term for it. What would you call that? She's been made a mother of her. She's an alien hybrid mother. There should be a word for that. I don't know. And so then I thought, wait a second, I've heard of her before. And then I remembered back to this conference that I went to at Contact in the Desert. And people were telling me that I reminded them of Bridget Nielsen. So many people were telling me that. And yeah, so my friend Stacy in particular, that was when I first met her. And when she looked at me, one of the first things out of her mouth was, wow, you have to meet my friend Bridget. You remind me so much of her. Her name's Bridget Nielsen, and you guys just remind me of each other so much. Anyway, that's what I remembered when I was Googling hybrid child abduction. And I thought, wait a second, I have to call Stacy. So I called my friend Stacy, and I told her what happened. And she was like, wow, you really need to meet Bridget. I'm like, yes, I know, I do. It's like an interesting synchronicity that Stacy and Bridget are friends. And like Stacy would tell me that I would remind her of Bridget. And then down the road, I just remember these dreams that I had, this recurring dream. Anyway, so since then I've always wondered, like, did that really happen? Do I actually have hybrid children? Or was that just a dream and had nothing to do with anything? Was I creating those dreams because I was trying to conceive and I like so badly wanted a child that I was creating this in my head? Who knows? But either way, I started following Bridget Nielsen, and I learned that some people believe that these hybrid programs, we have on a soul level agreed to these types of situations with ETs because we either come from star families, ET star families, that these are actually our family members that we have like incarnated as humans, and now because of a soul contract before we even came down here, we go and we create these hybrid children. And at some point when our earth raises to a certain level of density, so a certain level of soul, collective soul, hold on, I'm getting messages. When our earth reaches a certain level of collective soul development, if that makes sense, like we all have to raise to a certain level of development, then we will be able to accept these hybrids into the earth, and they're basically going to be here as that higher level, higher density being to mingle and help us move and shift into this new world that we're going to create together. Now that's a really cool thought. And I've also heard that there are tons and tons and tons of these hybrid children just waiting for us to do this soul work, and then we're going to have this like integration. Anyway, I think that's totally awesome. What do you guys think? Because I don't even necessarily think that hybridization programs are always positive, because I mean, there are ETs out there that are probably taking people against their will and creating hybrids to like keep our vibration down, right? So there's a war going on, so it can go both ways. And I also believe that aliens are not free of karma. They can become karmically entangled, and quite literally, a lot of them are karmically entangled in humanity. What I mean by karmic entanglement is that when you come to Earth and you act, you do something. Now, you can become karmically entwined. Like, let's say that you do something that affects another person, takes away their free will. You've become attached to that person energetically now. There's some kind of response and consequence, if you will, that you have to go through in order to learn that lesson. This is how karma works. So ETs have been karmically entangled with humanity for a long time. So anyway, these are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think about this whole hybridization program. Now, I wanted to shift and let you guys know that I support Bridget Nielsen on Patreon. She is an amazing soul. I love her videos on YouTube. I can't wait to meet her in person. She's so cool. She lives in Sedona. Anyway, she gives art. She does like art drawings on her Patreon. And what Patreon is, it's a way that you can support creators. I also have a Patreon. A lot of you are supporting me on Patreon, so thank you for that. Anyway, I won one of her contests. So I have mail from Bridget Nielsen that I wanted to open on this video. What do we have here? Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Look what I won. It's a hybrid child drawing. And you know what I love most about this hybrid child drawing is that it has the Zelda Triforce on its shirt. I'm obsessed with Zelda. That is so cool. I'm really excited to hang that on my wall. Oh, and I got a little signature. That is super cool. Thank you, Bridget. You're so cool. There's something else in here. What else do we have? What? Check this out, y'all. Oh, divine feminine birthing process. Yep, I'm totally hanging this on my wall. That's right. I'm going to hang a female reproductive system on my wall, fallopian tubes and all. Yep. Time to hang some. It's a good Friday when you hang some fallopian tubes on your wall. I mean, not, okay, that sounded really bad. Anyway, that's beautiful. I love these colors too. If this isn't divine frequency, I don't know what is. I feel like we should make t-shirts out of this. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. I find hybrid children, this concept of hybrid children, fascinating. And yeah, let's start that conversation. What do y'all think? Do you think that I have hybrid children? What? Who knows? Who knows? But if I do, I would love, 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 love to meet them. My goodness. I just would love to meet them. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to shift again, and we're going to talk about all the great things that I have happening for Divine Frequency. I have released a new website. If you go to thedivinefrequency.com, you can see the brand new look and feel. I built that from the ground up. More like built that from the WordPress up. I'm loving it. I like it so much. My new site's so cool. So go check me out there. I have revamped my sessions section. So I do offer coaching sessions. I read tarot. I also do life coaching, which is talk therapy. I love to help you by hearing your stories and coming up with some creative solutions for you. I also do business coaching. If you run a social media business and you're looking for someone to help look into your processes and help you grow, I am happy to help. I do that very frequently, so get at me on there. Also, huge announcement, I am going to be speaking at Conscious Life Expo, February 11th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you guys want to come see me at Conscious Life Expo, I would love to hang out with you. We're going to be talking about magic. It's going to be a good time. So Yeah, I will link it below. Come hang out. I want to meet you guys. So that's what we got going on. Big things on the horizon for Divine Frequency for 2018. And I love you guys. And if you have any questions or have any ideas for content you'd like to see on my channel, get at me at thedivinefrequency@gmail.com. I hope you guys have an awesome Friday. And yeah, that's that. Love you guys. Speak your truth.